Welcome back, everyone. I'm joined here at the set by longtime criminal defense attorney Jeffry Feiner. Jeffrey, thank you for joining us. Just so folks know, you were actually in Spokane practicing law toward the end of the Coe case.
At the very end of the case, and I ended up taking employment with part of the firm that was handling the case, so it was still really fresh.
You're familiar kind of with the facts of the case.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the facts.
So fast forward to today, Kevin Coe effectively released to a group home. I'm curious of your reaction to what happened today.
Well, it looks like the end of a long saga, and it may be the end of a long saga. Although there are some restrictions still on him. One of them he has to file as a sex offender. Mm-hmm. And if he fails to do that, he will be picked up and his release will be reversed. Mm-hmm. For how long is hard to say. But for the most part, if he behaves, if he files, if he doesn't get into trouble, the criminal law aspect of this and the civil confinement aspect, it's over.
We're talking more than 40 years ago when this all happened. Can you take us back to that time period and give us a sense of just kind of the fear in Spokane, and in particular the South Hill, when these crimes were happening and nobody knew who was committing them?
Well, I was moving to Spokane when that was happening, and I read in People magazine about part of it, and it was alarming. But the atmosphere on the South Hill in the families that I knew, the people that I knew when I first moved to town, had turned into terror. My boss, a local lawyer who represented him, said before the arrest, his wife wouldn't take the garbage out because going outside unescorted was a risk. Mm-hmm. And I think that it had permeated throughout not just the South Hill, but principally there. And it was a city under a siege from one guy. Mm-hmm.
Going to today and today's proceeding, the judge effectively said before the victim impact statements that the court's decision had already been made before the statements. People were free to make those statements, but essentially the decision was already made. What do you make about that today?
Well, it's odd to hear a judge saying they've already decided, but there's a reason that was said. And it's a lawyer reason, but it makes some sense. Mr. Coe has been punished criminally, maybe insufficiently, but he's been punished. And then he's been held civilly for decades. All the past harm he's done, that wasn't what the hearing today was about. Mm-hmm. The past harms he committed, that's been addressed. This had to do with what's going to happen in the future. And so the amount of turmoil, heartache, grief, trauma he inflicted, that wasn't even on the table. The question was, is he safe to release? The horrors he committed and the lives he upset, that's not the factor. It's looking forward, not looking back.
We have less than a minute now, but it's believed that Mr. Coe is responsible for upwards of 40 sexual assaults during that time period. Ultimately, when everything is said and done, he's convicted of a single case, though.
Single case. During the early case, when he was facing 3 different people accusing him, there was a decision made to have those witnesses undergo hypnotic refreshing their recollection. And the problem with hypnosis is that people are very suggestible when they're under that state. And so that evidence was so tainted, it was thrown out. Mm-hmm. He did, however, admit to one of the rapes. He did it in his sentencing portion. And that ended up being the one conviction that stuck, the one he admitted to in order to qualify for sex offender treatment, which he declined to take in any event. It was a mess from the beginning.
All right.
It was handled strangely, and it's made a saga for Spokane we'll all remember.
All right. Jeffry Feiner, appreciate your insight today.
You're welcome.